Hello, hello, hello. This is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and it is time to return to Gabriel Knight, the beast within, the second of the Gabriel Knight games. Now, last time round, we ended on a lockup, and that was basically because I didn't check these out.
December 14th, 1881, Linderhof. Order another work by Jennings on the occult. Write urgently to Klug, saying that I insist that the stoppages by the bank cease. I want it, and therefore it must be done. Write very urgently. He must succeed at once, and then must report to me urgently. If I give orders to clear my room, doing so must not be postponed as it happened. Pencils must be pointed without special orders. The day after tomorrow, 1,000 marks. How is Louis now? I want to know whether he looks unhappy. How often have I said that the coffee must not come up boiling hot, so that it can only be drunk after standing an hour? If any more correspondence come from Louis, they are to be burnt immediately, but I am to be informed of their arrival. These are actual notes from Ludwig to his servants. They go far in showing the king's state of mind. They were smuggled out and used as evidence in compiling the order for Ludwig's arrest.
Now, yeah, because I skipped over these, and when I tried to leave, the game locked up on me.
December 18th, 1881, Linderhof. Every day get up earlier for certain. See to that very particularly. Write it down. Remember that when the great friend arrives at Neuschwanstein, we retire to the hall. We are not to be disturbed. I will not tolerate interference or insubordination.
Okay, now that we've addressed that here, we will leave. And if I hit hint, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at currently. Okay, we got everything done there. So now we are heading off to the Wagner Museum, which is up here in Beirut, if I pronounce that right. Anybody watching this in Germany will understand.
Grüß Gott.
Guten Tag. Ist das die Wagner Museum?
Ja, you're an American, aren't you? I'm afraid the house is closed this time of year. It will be open next month.
Crap.
You are interested in Wagner?
Very interested. Very recently very interested.
Yeah. Most of the house is closed for cleaning, but a few rooms are open. I shouldn't let you probably, but if it is only you, you are alone, aren't you?
Endlessly.
Come in and look around.
That's very generous. What do I owe you?
Georg Immerding. There's only a few displays. Besides, I wouldn't be much of a shining knight if I charged you.
Thanks, Georg. My name is Grace.
Hello. Have a good time.
He is a knight in shining armor, without shining armor. And that's a good thing. For now, we are going to check out the Museum for Wagner.
Wagner's piano. On this piano, the maestro composed his later operas, including The Ring.
Not the Ring der Nibelungen, which is, some of that music's very beautiful. Well, it's all very beautiful to listen to. Oh, Franz Liszt.
Franz Liszt, composer and Cosima Wagner's father.
And
Richard Wagner.
yeah, many people will pronounce it Wagner, but it's Wagner.
An old sofa.
Yep.
The death of Wagner. On Ash Wednesday, 1883, Wagner suffered a heart attack in a Venetian gondola on the way to Saint Michel. His wife and the gondolier carried him into a church where he regained consciousness. Wagner died 4 days later on this sofa.
Oh my. Ironic, the recording date I'm recording this on is on Ash Wednesday. Let's see, anything here? What we got here? Ah.
Wagner's death mask.
Looks peaceful. What we got here? Ooh, what's this?
It's a letter from a Monsieur Beaujolais, dated September 1881. Looks like he's discussing acoustics and sound waves. And crystals. Wasn't Wagner's Bayreuth Theater already built? Why would Wagner be worrying about acoustics?
That is curious. There's something we missed here. What we got here?
Wagner's desk. Exactly as it was on the day he died.
That is a curious find. Okay, here we are. What's this?
The great patron himself.
Great. Oh. Oh yeah. I think that's Ludwig.
Ludwig as the classical Greek hero.
Huh.
Ludwig's death mask.
Ludwig. Oh my gosh. What's this say?
A portrait given as a gift from Ludwig to Wagner. June 10th, 1881, Munich residence. Great friend. I am writing to you in the middle of the night. My blood is pounding too wildly for sleep. Tonight's performance, how can I describe it? I am unsure whether to be terrified or thrilled. Perhaps I even feel hopeful. If it is hope, you have given it to me, my friend, for the first time in years. We must speak. Something happened during the music tonight, but I must have your absolute confidence. As you love me, come at once. Your devoted king, Ludwig.
So, Wagner is the great friend. And what's this one?
July 1882. Great and beloved king. Monsieur Beaujolais and I have finished the diagram. We checked the figures many times, and Monsieur is confident that it will work. 8 identical fixtures are to be made from the diagram and placed in the theater exactly as specified. I'm sending the diagram with your courier. Be full of hope and have courage. All will be well. Your own, Wagner.
Interesting. That's that diagram we looked at, too. Let's see, go back in here and... Alright, make sure I've... Okay. Okay. Just making sure I've gotten all these rooms done.
These look like production designs. I don't see anything that looks like those wolf paintings in Neuschwanstein, though.
Yeah.
These look like... I don't see anything that looks...
Okay, not there. What about...
These look like production designs. I don't see anything that looks like those wolf paintings in Neuschwanstein, though.
Nothing there. Okay. What's this?
Opera costumes. Opera costumes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Wagner did write some of the most famous operas. What's this?
This must be a model of Wagner's own theater, here in Bayreuth.
Oh.
This must be a
That must have been a majestic thing if it'd been around, I don't know. Okay. So now we're back here. Alright, let's,
Wagner souvenirs. Don't think I'm getting any of those.
Yeah.
Wagner souvenir.
What's that?
Let's look in the case.
Cosima Wagner's journal. It's locked up for preservation.
course. Well, let's talk to this gentleman. Let's find out what he knows.
What are you doing here? The museum is closed.
They always like to care here. It's a good job for me. I can soak in the atmosphere of the maestro while I compose.
What are you composing?
This. One of Wagner's pieces.
For the Bayreuth Opera?
I'm only a student at the university. I study music, composition, but
Is there much opera conducted in Europe?
as my brother. He is the conductor for the Munich Opera.
Well, that's convenient. Does that mean I get free opera tickets?
Oh.
I get the last to the Opera Festival in Munich. It starts in a few months.
Hope I'm still to see it.
Come with me if you like. If you're still around, you can go backstage and all sorts of things.
I'd love that. If I'm still in Germany, I'll call you, all right?
Yeah, good.
Well, Grace is making friends.
Tell me about Wagner.
He was a character. He spent most of his life trying to convince rich patrons to subsidize his work. Unfortunately, he had expensive taste. You see, he believed that someone of his genius deserved to live well. Can't argue with that.
But Ludwig II supported him, didn't he?
Yeah, sure, but Ludwig came along very late in Wagner's life. By then, he had already been run out of Venice and most major cities because of debt. Ludwig saved him. And the music. Best thing Ludwig ever did.
Do you know anything about that letter from Wagner to Ludwig in the display case? The one about the diagram?
No. Some sort of equipment for Ludwig's theater. But I don't know why Wagner would have cared about this. If he was worried about any theater, you would think it would have been his own theater, here, in Bayreuth.
That is curious.
Have you ever heard about the letter that Ludwig wrote to the Munich conductor in 1882 telling him to prepare for a new Wagner opera?
You're full of surprises, for an American.
What do you know about it?
No one knows anything about it. It's like a treasure map, you know? It's probably a complete fairy tale, but it does make you wonder.
You have no idea what it could have referred to? Maybe something that Wagner was working on with Ludwig?
If there was, there's no trace of it. Except perhaps in the dreams of unemployed music students.
Have you ever heard about the wolf panels in the Singers' Hall at Neuschwanstein?
Did my brother send you here?
No.
Probably not. It's only the letter to the conductor, the wolf panels. My brother thinks I am crazy because of all my theories.
What theories?
This is Quatsch. If there was a lost opera, a lost Wagner opera, and if one could find it, to a conductor, this would be like finding King Tut's tomb. But people have looked for it before. If it ever existed, it is gone forever. My brother says I waste my time even thinking about it.
Don't think it's too much of a waste of time.
I'm curious. Is there any other information that points to the lost opera besides Ludwig's letter and the wolf panels?
It's nothing. I'm not even supposed to have seen it. You see, my brother says that Wagner was too egotistical to have produced a lost opera. If he was working on something new, every person in Bayreuth would have heard about it. On the other hand, it was in Ludwig's character to have wanted a private opera.
But it wouldn't have been private. Ludwig's letter shows he intended it to be played in Munich.
Yes, but that it would get so far without Wagner telling others, why keep it a secret?
Maybe there was a very good reason for secrecy.
For example?
Like... Never mind.
I think there is a reason for secrecy. I think it's about a wolf. Let me just double check those letters.
Grace Nakamura.
No, I don't want to look at Grace Nakamura. No. Where were those letters?
It looks like an architectural drawing of a theater. The Wittelsbacher Theater, München.
Yep.
Every square inch is measured.
Okay, we got a...
It's a letter. Wasn't Wagner's Bayreuth Theater already built? Why would Wagner be worrying about acoustics?
Yeah.
It's a letter from a Monsieur Beaujolais, dated September 1881. Looks like he's discussing acoustics and sound waves, and crystals. Wasn't Wagner's Bayreuth Theater already built? Why would Wagner be worrying about acoustics?
Okay, we've got all that cleared out, I think, for now. So I think it's time to leave here for now. It's time to go back to Richardsburg. Alright. Don't you just love how fast we travel in this game? It's like, boom, there we are. Boom, there we are. Now, I don't know how fast you can go in Germany, but these are the kinds of drives that I think would take an hour or so. Now that we're back at Rittersburg, I think we need to go back to the pub. Because I think we need to take a speaking with the Smiths again. Uh-oh. Ah! I need to ask for them.
Herr Huber?
Yes?
You know what? I want to see if I can find out anything.
I was wondering if you've changed your mind about telling me where Gabriel is. It's really important.
No. Sorry.
I mean, I can understand.
Are the Smiths in their room?
Ja, I believe so.
Could you ask them to come down, please?
Ja, natürlich.
No, that place does look lovely.
Now you just tell Merle what's going on.
Okay.
I had a dream last night. I didn't remember it at first, but I saw something today at one of the museums.
What was the dream?
I was being chased in the woods by wolves. And I saw a sleigh. Ludwig was inside. He pulled me up, and I thought I was safe. But then he turned into a wolf.
So what do you think, Mother?
A dream of rescue is a spiritual guide dream. The High Priestess in Gabriel's cards must be linked to Ludwig somehow.
What do the wolves represent?
I'm a psychic, dear, not Freud. But the warning I got was about the black wolf, wasn't it? And the wolves in the dream. It must be the same danger.
It's so frustrating. The more I find out, the more questions I have.
Why don't you try a little communicating of your own? Ludwig's the link. Appeal to him. The answers may not come right away, but at least you'll give the guide something specific to say the next time she contacts you.
Isn't there any way that you could, do a psychic reading on Ludwig or something?
To tell you the truth, I've been trying all day to make contact, but I only feel great despair. Ludwig's soul is not at peace.
I'd better go.
Anytime you need us, stop by.
And be careful, huh?
Thanks.
Yep. Okay, so we gotta leave. Let's get back. We'll head back up to the house, to the Rittelsberg, to Schloss Ritter. I swear this is... Anyway, I think they went all out for this production.
Hi, did you have a good time?
Uh-huh. Anything new?
Yes, you had a phone call.
Really?
A man named Professor Barkley. He said you had his number.
I do. Thanks.
Ah. They're on better terms, that's nice. Huh? Now we have to go up to the library to make that call. Boom, 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 boom. Now, the place looks a lot different than it did in the first game. I think it looks more homey. Okay.
I'm not sure what other case books would be relevant. I'm not sure.
Grace, we need to sit down so we can make a phone call. Okay. Okay, let's see, what's this? Letter to Ludwig. Ah. Let's call Mr. Barkley.
Hello?
Hi, Professor Barkley. It's Grace.
Oh, good. I have a name for you. It's Herr Josef Dahlmeier, and he specializes in Bavarian history, and I think he's somewhere near you are.
Herr Josef Dahlmeier. Great, got a number?
Yeah, I do. It's 4982-555-2234.
Thanks a lot. Sorry about the bother.
That's no bother. When are you coming back to school, Gracie?
When I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Well, be good.
That's a good relationship to have with a professor. They're concerned about the student and all that, even after. I have some decent relationships with my past professors, too, from college. Okay. Let's call Mr. Let's call Herr Dahlmeier. I hope I said the name right.
Hallo?
Hallo, sind Sie Herr Josef Dahlmeier?
Yeah, you must be Grace Nakamura, the American history student.
Yes,
I hear you're interested in Ludwig II.
very.
Good. There's something I want to show you. Drive to Berg on Starnberger See. Meet me at the Memorial Chapel.
All right, thank you.
Oh, wait. Was there anything you wanted me to look into before we meet?
Well, I was hoping you knew something about someone called the Black Wolf. He was a contemporary of Ludwig's. He lived in Prussia, I think, and he was well connected.
Never heard of him, but I'll check. See you there.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. I'm getting closer. And I finishes up some things here. All right. Okay. Now, I'm gonna talk to Gerda again.
Gerda?
Yes.
Let's see.
Have you heard from Gabriel at all?
No, Grace, I'm sorry.
Oh boy.
Never mind.
Okay, well, we That covers that. Okay, and then, she's understandably worried. That dream was disturbing. This is lovely music, Okay. So we are now off to a new location. Yay! And now I have to go to Starnberger Sea. Okay. So that's the chapel? Ooh, that's a nice chapel.
It's a memorial chapel.
Yes. Now... Well, we're coming here for some sort of clandestine meeting, I'm guessing. And...
This is where he died. You must be Grace. Herr Dahlmeier.
Hello.
Joseph.
Oh, this is where he
Didn't
died?
mean to startle you.
This is where Ludwig died.
I wanted you to see it. I feel him here the most, more than at the castle. So, what did you want to know?
Well, let's find out. Oh my goodness, we got a list of stuff to talk about. So once we get done with this, I think we'll call it an episode.
Professor Barclay says your hobby is Ludwig.
Yes. He was the last real king that Bavaria had. As a Bavarian and a history buff, well, that's enough to hook me right there.
But there's more, right?
He was a romantic, a dreamer. And he was misunderstood, maligned.
Sounds like you can relate.
Me? Hell, I have it easy. At least I live in the 1990s. And not every eye in the country is on me. But yes, I can relate.
Yeah, it was an easy time back in the 90s. You didn't have the internet.
You know about Ludwig's diary, right?
Of course.
How can I get my hands on it?
I'm sorry. I have been trying myself for 5 years. They keep it locked up tight in the Royal Archives and they don't let it out. They must think it contains things that will hurt his image.
They won't let anyone see it, not ever?
Only one person outside of the government ever got to see it, a biographer, Sir Richmond Chapel. He had friends among the German royals and they let him look at it.
Did you ever try to contact Chapel? Pick his brain?
No. And I don't believe I never thought of that. If you do and you find out anything, you must share.
It's a promise.
Now we have someone else to look into here.
Tell me about Ludwig.
I don't know where to start. There's so much. Politically, the most significant thing about Ludwig II was that he signed over independent Bavarian statehood to Prussia in 1870. Bavaria became a part of United Germany, and Ludwig became a figurehead prince under the Prussian Kaiser.
Why do you think he did that?
Bavaria had been involved in the 100 Years' War. People were tired of fighting. Prussia's push to unite the German states made some amount of sense. Still, Ludwig must have had other options. At the very least, he should have negotiated better terms.
So what was the real reason?
He was manipulated by Bismarck. At least that's what I think, anyway.
Well, Otto von Bismarck was a good negotiator.
What about Ludwig personally?
You'll find two perspectives on Ludwig. The view the tourists get is the romantic ideal, Ludwig the tormented loner. Then there is the historian's point of view. Ludwig was plagued with guilt over his sexual orientation and was driven mad with self-loathing.
But I take it you're not buying either point of view.
Well, it's all too convenient, isn't it? That he was a devout Catholic, there is no question, and I'm sure there were pressures on him to be normal. But he was no prude. He loved Byron. Yes. Philosophy, the French court. If anything, Ludwig was too much an egomaniac. He didn't give a damn what anyone thought. And besides, he didn't try to hide any of his relationships. If he suffered from anything in his romantic life, it was disillusionment. No one loved him back as purely as he himself loved.
Well, if it wasn't sexual guilt that tormented him, what was it?
I don't know. His diary was filled with self-guilt, but I'm sure it's not about that. If I knew, I'd write my own book, set the record straight, so to speak.
I think I know what it is.
Have you read anything about Ludwig's midnight sleigh rides?
Oh, would that have been something? To be out at night and suddenly see him sweep by with his entourage? They say the night agitated Ludwig, and that being outdoors and the rushing feeling of the sleigh calmed him down. Sometimes even the sleigh wasn't enough. He would stop in some remote woods, order his servants to stay put, and go wandering off by himself for hours. It drove the servants crazy.
So if he got and became a werewolf, he did that to probably avoid biting anyone.
Tell me about Bismarck.
Oh, Bismarck. He was the Prussian Kaiser's chancellor. Not a nice man. Bismarck had a reputation for learning people's weaknesses and manipulating them. It's a matter of record that he had spies on Ludwig's staff. He may even have had a henchman even closer to the king. And he was involved in the conspiracy to declare Ludwig insane.
Did you find out anything about the Black Wolf?
I did. I'd read about him before, but I hadn't realized that was who you were talking about. His name was Godin, Paul Godin. I found a reference to his being called the Black Wolf after you telephoned.
I've never heard of him. Who was he?
Godin lived on the fringes of the Prussian court. He was handsome, charming, dangerous, or so they say. He was variously rumored to have been a foreign prince, a Prussian spy, even an assassin. Since you were interested in him, I found out some things that are probably true. It said he came from abroad in the mid-1800s, but claimed high German blood.
Do you know where he came from?
No. And he was ruthlessly ambitious. He probably found out who held the power, Bismarck, and offered his services. Bismarck was a good judge of talent, of that sort anyway.
What else do you know about Godin?
Yeah.
He must have done something remarkable. Bismarck was not a generous man. He liked to string people along with promises, but rarely came through. He did for Godin, though. He gave him a royal title and lands in 1863. And that was the last reference I found to him.
Well, how could he just disappear?
It's not that unusual. Back then, when you were given a title, you usually changed your name and moved to a place where no one knew your past, so you could act with impunity. Or be a pompous ass and get away with it.
No comparisons today, please.
Is there any way to find out what Godin was called after he got his title?
Is it that critical?
It might be.
Well, you could send away for a copy of the entitlement deed, assuming it has been destroyed during one of the wars. Godin's new name would be on it. But you would need a research permit from the government to access those records, and they can be very hard to get. A lot of red tape.
Great.
That's going to be tricky.
What do you know about Ludwig's hunting accident?
A couple of years ago, I was introduced to this great old man, a real old-world farmer. Well, his grandfather was Richard Horning, Ludwig's equestrian.
Oh.
He told some great Ludwig stories. Sometimes I get lucky. Anyway, he said that after the hunting accident, Ludwig got terribly ill, that he had a fever and was acting crazy. They were afraid that the wolf had been carrying a disease or that the bite had gone septic.
A wolf bit him?
Yeah, it's not so unusual. There were a lot of wolves in the Alps back then. The servants were really worried, but Ludwig recovered, physically anyway. Horning's grandfather said it was the fever that broke Ludwig's mind, that he was worse than ever after that.
Wolf bite. Black wolf.
What do you mean Ludwig got worse after the accident?
Ludwig always had been a very private person. But after the accident, he got darker, more crazy. Towards the end, he was even forcing his servants to enter his chambers bent over so they couldn't see his face. Horning's grandfather said his temper was fearsome. He would fly into a rage at the least mistake.
Must have been terrified of him.
Yes, well. Horning's grandfather felt sorry for Ludwig, and Ludwig hated his own father. He was always giving gifts to his servants to apologize.
Aha!
You mentioned that there were other reasons why Ludwig's servants feared him.
That's another of Horning's mysteries. It's a story about Wagner. Apparently, there was a period of time of 2 or 3 months when Wagner would come and visit him.
Wagner?
Yeah. The two would lock themselves in the singer's hall. Horning's grandfather said the sounds that came from there were awful. Well, the servants had superstitious minds anyway. Some of them would over it, just walked away.
What kind of sounds?
Horning's grandfather called them heartbreaking and ungodly. Maybe it was Wagner singing.
Well, I guess that's all for now. Thanks for your help.
My pleasure. If you ever want to talk again, give me a call.
Thanks. Bye.
We have found out a great deal of information there. And at this point, we are going to save the game, and we will continue this the next time round. As always, this is Rich Kale here on YouTube, Rich Gen X elsewhere, and I invite you to subscribe to the channel and check out some of the other playthroughs I've done. And next time around, we will, of course, continue this, and who knows, we might get through, depending on how things play out, the first time. We might finish out this chapter and move on to chapter 5. Otherwise, we'll just continue on in the game as long as nothing happens. But like I said, when we get back, and the next time we get back, we will continue our investigation here. Come check out some of the other playthroughs I'm doing on the channel, which includes the original Doom series that came out on the computers. I'm working my way through Final Doom right now. Also, I indulge in point-and-click adventures. Currently working on Kathy Rain, A Detective is Born, but in the past I've done I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream. Went through the demo of the Crimson Diamond and some old old humorous classics like The Flight of the Amazon Queen. That was a very fun one to play. I am also working my way through the Tomb Raider series. I'm working on Tomb Raider 3 right now, and the Sherlock Holmes series by Frogwares. And there's some other ones you'll find on the channel, which also includes Alien Isolation. As always, take care, and have a good one. And of course, please subscribe. Goodbye all.